Hi,
Awesome.
everybody. Welcome to our Tuesday Live. Um, I'm super excited today to share one of my favorite topics, and that is masterminds and the power of the mastermind.
Networking.
Um, Networking, mastermind, it's what it's all about, right? Um, Obviously, I'm Joe, my wife Jen with me today. She's from home. Part of the reason why we love to do what we do is our daughter, unfortunately, she's not feeling too well. Ricky got a little tiny fever, and we're able to still work from home and get stuff done, right? And this is why we love to do what we can do. So in the comments below, can you please write where you're from or looking to do deals? And if you have any questions, drop them down below. We'll make sure we get to those. And today we're going to talk about networking and masterminding and the power behind that. Let's see what we got here. So we have Philadelphia in the house. Hey, Fred. We got Kat in Boston. Hi, Kat. Ruth and Jay looking for deals in North and South Carolina and Florida. We got Rebecca here from Orange County, New York. What is going on? She's looking for a make move anywhere down south. Rebecca, I don't blame you. We have Lindsay in Naples, Florida, doing deals in New England. She's got the right idea down there in Naples, Florida. Beautiful. And then we've got Trace, who is up in Minnesota, on his way to get into the Southwest Florida West Coast. So, guys, if you have deals, and we've got folks looking for them already. And the fun thing today, what we're going to do is we're going to really dive into the power of masterminds. I'm extra excited today. I was just meeting with Trace earlier, telling him how I am. And usually I don't share extra excitement, but today I am. And the reason for that is we are also part of a mastermind called the Family Mastermind. And it's ran by a gentleman named Matt Andrews, who's a fantastic investor, great guy to begin with. It's here in Tampa, and they meet twice a year. The last time they went and did the live event, it was canceled. Hurricane Ian had to come rain on the party, but they're having it next week. And this is the fun thing about being in it, guys. It's not a cheap mastermind. It's 15,000 for the year, which is not a ton. I know there's more. They're expensive, but it's a pretty penny. But the power of this is who we're getting to meet next week, who we're getting to be around. Being in the same room with these people is monumental. I mean, there's going to be 300 investors from around the country who are going to be there flying in. Probably a whole bunch of them have their own private jets. And I know everybody else will be flying in. We get to just drive there. So it's nice. It's not very far from where we already live. We have our mother-in-law coming in. Thank you, Mom, if you're watching. Our mother-in-law is coming down to watch the kiddos. So Jen and I could just stay there and really focus on going out to dinner and really meeting these folks who, I'm not gonna lie, there's gonna be some of them I'm gonna be so giddy, it's gonna be nuts. Jen might have to pry me off them. So this is the thing that we really love. And if any of you listened or read Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, one of the modules that he goes over in Think and Grow Rich is the power of the mastermind and the power of networking, right? So I know for sure some of the best work I get done is when I'm sitting in a room with Jen and we're just kicking back and forth ideas. Now, there are some times where I might start kicking ideas to her when it's not the appropriate time, when we're busy doing other stuff or trying to be non-real estate related. So it's a trick, right? But we always come up with a lot of great things together. And I know for sure when I'm with other folks, it's the same way. So when Napoleon Hill talks about and Think and Grow Rich is that when you have two minds together or three minds together, it actually forms another separate mind. And that's the power of the mastermind and the ideas that you could collaborate together. So starting next week, we're going to be meeting with people like Steve Trang. I don't know if you know who he is. Ron the Grand's going to be there. There are a ton of David Olds is going to be there. There's a lot of these folks who are there that you probably never heard of because they don't have a big social media presence, but they're doing 30, 40, 50 deals a month. The last one I was in Jacksonville, Florida. This was in December. Was it December, babe?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm getting it mixed up. So the one I went to in December, having dinner next to one of the guys who just seems like a normal guy. we were friends on social media, but I didn't recognize him because he's in Houston. And then I started talking and he's like, yeah, we did 43 deals last month. And he does consistent deal flow like that. So just sitting down next to somebody who is doing that, a lot of the processes they learn has been really huge. And I think this is the key to why we do what we do here every Tuesday, is to share with you guys a lot of what we're doing, what we're currently working on, some of the deals that we're structuring, and how we can make these a win for everybody. Right. And I think kicking back and forth ideas, this is what's been the key for us, is by learning from so many other people. And so one of the deals that we're going to share is one that was brought to us actually through some of these Tuesday meetings. Is we had somebody reach out and says, Joe, I have a deal that I think is a great deal. I think it's a good deal. And the deal's in Connecticut. And I get on the phone with him, and great dude. Never talked to him before, but just a fantastic guy. We start working out the details of what the seller has going on in her life and the situation they're in. And we put the deal together. So if we weren't doing this Tuesday live, guys, this was just a free lead that made sense. And so now what we're going to do is we're JVing the deal together. And after I got off the phone with him a couple of hours ago, I've been chatting with him a few times today. I was actually so excited I couldn't wait, and I just started calling him out of the blue. It's going to be a really nice deal. We're helping out the seller doing what's called a subtail. You guys know what those are? Okay. So I'll explain the process of this deal and how we're going to make this work. So we have a seller reach out to us. So she bought the house for 200,000. She's like, I want 200,000 for the house. That's her hot button. If I could get 200,000, it's yours. It needs a little bit of work. 2 of the bathrooms have been recently remodeled, halfway finished. She lives out of state. She doesn't even live there anymore. It's in Connecticut. She's an actress. She's busy filming all day long. So she can't be at the house fixing it. So long story short, she said, if you sell, I'll do it for 200,000. You could buy it with terms, which means I'm buying with no money down. We're going to take over her existing payment of $1,500 a month. But she has $64,000 of equity. So what we did is call a hybrid deal, to where I'm paying her $250 a month on top of the monthly payment. She gave us a 10-year term. So I'm going to explain to you what I'm going to do with this. And we have 3 options. Guys, I'm going to do this quickly, but I'm going to make sure I'm thorough. This is why we call it the Creative Finance Playbook. Because I have 3 different options now that I have this deal under contract. I do the ARV of the house. I figure out it's worth 270-ish until I find out it's got an in-ground pool in the backyard. It's in great shape. Talk to a local realtor. The house is worth about 300 to the low 3s. If we redo the bathrooms, they're halfway done. It's going to cost me probably 10 to 15 grand to redo those bathrooms. So I'm buying it for 200 grand. I'm only coming up with closing costs at closing. Plus she's behind $6,000 of payment. So I'm going to get her current. I'm going to cover the closing costs. And now I've got a few options. I could finish the bathrooms and put in a rent to own tenant buyer. Will probably give us 20 grand down. And we can make a monthly cash flow, I predict, around $300 a month. Or I could get into that deal with paying the $6,000 in back payments, $3,000-4,000 in closing costs. And then the person who brought me the deal, we're going to JV in the deal together. And then we're going to do the remodel. I talked to the realtor in the area. She's got contractors. I think we could get it done for under 15 grand. So we have into the deal a total of 25 grand, which is 12.5 a piece. But if you think about it, if I bought it for 200 grand, I've got 15,000 over that for the repairs. And I've got another 3,000 or 4,000 in closing costs over that. I really only have 220 into it, but I only have 25 grand out of pocket. So when we sell that, the realtor says this is the only one in the area that's a pool and it has a garage. She thinks it would fetch minimum of 300, if not somewhere in the low 3s to even higher. So if we sell that at, say, a 310 sale, which is pretty conservative, especially this time of year, and there's no listings in that area. By the time we cash out, pay the realtor and all this, within a few months, we could make about 70 grand in that deal. So if you have $25,000 out on a fix and flip and could turn that into a $70,000 profit, You can see why we love to do this versus doing, oh, we do have somebody in the house. Where is that? Hold on. Carolina, yes. And the only one that has central AC. I see we have a special guest here. Do you want to turn on your mic or you want to keep on the down low? Maybe she's busy. I'll give her a minute. Maybe she wants to. But either way, that is correct. So from networking here, guys, this is how we got this lead. And I've been in touch with, like I said, the guy who brought us the deal, who's an investor too. And we're quite thrilled that we could help out this seller in her situation and working on how can we make this deal work together. So we have another option too, which we're looking at, is that we buy the house, we cover just the closing costs, we just sell it as is for cash to a cash buyer, not doing any of the rehab. But from doing a small amount of rehab compared to what I think we're going to list this for and then sell it for and then split everything 50-50, I think it's going to be a heck of a deal for everybody involved, because the seller is going to get her credit back to good again because she's behind on payments. So we're going to get her current and then start making those payments on time for a few months, maybe 2, 3, before then we get her cashed out completely. Now that seller gave us a 10-year term. So if that's the point, we don't have to get her cashed out now, but this is a good option if we could get it while the market is hot. I'd love to make $300 a month, but I'd also like to split $70,000 and put 35 in their pocket and 35 in my pocket, right? And that's the great thing about what we do is you have so many different options. You get to choose. Either one's great, honestly. And there's a lot of investors who said, hey, for 200 grand, I would have owned that thing right and sold it for rent own for 350. And you probably could. You probably could have got somebody who gave you 25 grand down. Right. So what did you have in the deal? 25 grand. What do you get back? 25 grand. You're even. You make $300 a month. You have a tenant buyer in there at 350. You get to write off depreciation, which is great. But it's not just me on the deal. I'm splitting that deal. Luckily, the partner on the deal on my end, he's flexible no matter what we want to do. But I know he's got some projects working right now. And I know that we have some stuff going on right now. And like I was talking to some folks earlier, we're self-employed. So when you're self-employed, you have to pay for health insurance. Health insurance is not cheap. This one deal, guys, pays for our health insurance for the entire year for me, my wife, and 2 kids, a family of 4. Our health insurance is covered for the year now off one deal. Do I have to worry about being self-employed now just in case we get sick? I have Crohn's. I don't know. Some of you may know that. Some of you don't. I'm on medication that costs like a crap ton of money. It's covered, right? I'm covered because of just one deal. So I love the cash flow. I love a lot of the upside of this. I also love getting out of it quick. And this is why we love to do what we do and teach, is there's so many ways to do it. But if I'm going to do a fix and flip, I'm not going to buy that house for 200 grand in cash, most likely, and then go put the money into it just to make that 70,000, which I would. I'm not going to lie to you. I still would. And that kind of deal. But I would much rather only come up with 25 grand to make that money. And even better, I'm going to come up with probably 12.5. If I had to come up with 12.5 to make 35 grand, would you all do that in like 90 days? Right. That's a lot better swing for me. And if you look at your cash on cash return and the amount of money that what your return is on your money in such a short time, that's a fantastic return. Now I'm going to up level it one more with you guys. Now I can come up with the 12.5 myself fairly easily. But if you could also have private money lenders, if you don't have the 12 grand, maybe borrow 15, right? Just in case you don't shoot enough and it's a little bit more than you expect. At 15,000, at a 10% interest, divide that over 12 months. What you're paying per month is not much. And if it takes you 4 months, you're going to pay not much, but a good return on 10% return, 12% return on their money. Now you've got no money into the deal at all, right? So this is the reason why we love to be creative when we're doing deals. So if you don't have that 12.5 and you're not lucky enough to have a partner also, maybe you had to borrow the whole 25. least you want to start having access to that if you don't have it yourself. So a lot of what we're doing is we're finding sometimes more deals than we can handle. And guys, I've got so many down here right now in Florida and across the country, it's getting a little nutty right now. I've got one seller who wants to sell us his whole portfolio. He will only do seller financing for properties here in Florida. He has them in a town called Holiday, Florida. So it's a little bit north of Tampa. It's an area where everybody's moving into because St. Pete and Tampa are getting to be too expensive. He's got some in Newport Richey, Port Richey, and Holiday. The guy owns a bunch of them. He does not want cash. Won't take cash. He wants to sell us these houses for 150 grand when they're worth mid twos once they're rehabbed. They're not terrible. So he's giving us a great deal, but he wants 20% down his hot button. Because if he could get his 20% down on a $150,000 house, that's 30 grand. That's what he paid for the house 10 years ago. So if he could sell it to us for on the cheap at 150, he will finance the balance at 1.99% for 15 years. So the cost of entry is a little ugly because it's 20% down. I don't love that. But I do love the fact I'm buying it right at 150 when it's a $250,000 home. It needs some remodeling to get there. But we don't have to do it because I could put in a rent-owned tenant buyer. So these are the deals that, once again, they're out there, but they're out there everywhere. You just have to find where they are. And I will promise you, there are more deals out there than there are people looking for them. So my whole thing is, you know how many sellers right now who are in a jam across the country who would love to sell their house. It's been listed with a realtor. They've got no equity because they recently just bought it. And they know if they pay a commission and closing costs, they're going to probably have to be in the red. They probably will have to write a check for thousands of dollars to go get away from that deal. They're all around the country right now, guys. And if they knew how you could help them not write that check, that's an extremely important thing right now. So there's just an abundance of leads everywhere. How do you find them? Some of it's going to be just networking, and that's what we're going to talk about today, right? So we are starting our own mastermind group, which I know some of you guys are already submitted to get into and already applied and got it in. We're starting that next month, which is more of a private mastermind. But we also love networking like this too. That's why we come here Tuesday. But this is when you have deals that you want to look at or send our way. So if you want a JV on a deal, there's a couple of ways to do it the smart way. You want a JV on a deal with us, you can go to our website and submit a deal, creativefinanceplaybook.com. It comes to a special spot, goes right to my acquisition manager, and we look at them right there on the spot. Number two is you message my wife, Jen, and say, hey, Jen, I got a deal. And I want a JV on it, right? Because if you send it to me, I'll be busy and you'll probably have better luck having her send it to me. No, I'm just kidding. But in all honesty, it's the best thing to do is go right to her. Look at that smile she got on her face. That's how we got out. The last lead was just that deal that we're doing right now in Connecticut. That's just the way it happened. They reached out to her, said, I think we have something.
Well, and that's the point, guys. If you're not on social, putting yourself out there, sharing what you're doing, how you can help others, and really having that abundance mindset, then that person probably wouldn't have reached out to me. Right. So again, I'm going to go back to share on social, make sure that you can share as much as you feel comfortable, but start someplace with it. And definitely you can always message me. I will definitely get back to you way before Joe will, I can promise you.
There's not a lot of seller calls, and not saying you're not busy too, but no, I get it. She's really good at getting back to you quick. Well, you also got that the Apple Watch, and so you get the alarm right away. So the networking is great. So what are you guys doing to network in your own lives, right? Are any of you part of a mastermind or going to be, right? And or are you on your own social media? You don't have to wait for one if you don't have one. But even putting on your own social media, how you could help people and connect with other people. There you go, Damien, in 2 masterminds right now. Great job. And we are always a part of one at once. Trying to be a part of 2 gets to be a little overwhelming because it's like, I haven't missed our 1 o'clock mastermind meeting today. Not a big deal because we're going on the big live one next month or next week. But so it's just meeting the right people who can connect you at a faster speed too. And this is the one thing I've got from the family mastermind is so many great people are in there. If I need to meet somebody in that, Matt Andrews puts me in touch with them. When I have a deal, it's in Iowa. I don't know if any of you know Grace. She's one of our past students. Girl is a superstar. She's going to be in our new mastermind that we're doing. But if I have a deal in Iowa, I know I'm instantly calling Grace and say, hey, I've got a hot one in your area. Here you go. Right? You're probably going to want this deal. And the reason why I love a mastermind like that is because if I have a deal that I'm going to assign to her, I know that she's been trained. I know she does her business very well. And I have faith in doing that deal. We've had students do deals with other students by us networking. And that's been the key too. So when you are doing those deals, you have that like and trust factor. And that's what's huge. So who's in your network? Who are you meeting with? They have small local ones that you can do. There's one in Tampa. They're doing every other month now. We went to it this month. Guys, there were 70 investors there. So this is also something you could start in your own town just by going on meetup.com and creating an event on Facebook and creating your own mastermind group of your own. One of our past acquisition managers, she's doing the same thing in Pittsburgh right now. So there wasn't one there talking about creative finance. So she's creating her own. It's not just creative finance, it's wholesaling, it's rentals, rehabs, but a topic is creative finance. And what you're seeing, there's not a lot around. So starting your own could be helpful too, and seeing who's in your area. And the important thing is also too is Zoom, right? Like here we are. Looks like Ed's got an amazing one on Thursday. And that's the key, is rubbing elbows with people who are doing what you want to do. And this is the importance of getting to the right mastermind. Is just that. It's about meeting with the people who are accomplishing what you're trying to get done. So if you're trying to learn how to do rentals, or if you're trying to get into BRRRR or different things like that, that's really been the key. So Ed, did you want to share something?
Yeah, it's not my mastermind, but it's one that I got invited to. And it's not even a mastermind as much as it's a group meeting at Denny's. And if you're not in the Tampa area, you can do it remotely, but it's 100% all about the money. And what that means is you go there and you find private lenders. There's private lenders who are there. We're not talking hard money lenders. Some of those are there too, but most people, there's this huge spreadsheet they go through talking about what kind of money they have to loan, what kind of projects they're looking to loan on. And then the investors can talk about the projects that they have that they're looking for people. So it's a networking opportunity. And I've never seen anything like it in all the groups I've gone to, because it's just people who are there and they're private individuals going, you know what, I'd like to get 10% or 13% on my money. And I've got, $200,000 to loan, and I'm interested in single family and multifamily. And it's amazing to see how that works. So if you're interested, maybe I'll post a link.
I love it. And that's what it is. It's finding out what you're trying to get in touch with. So part of two, if you want some private money lenders, it's a great group to be a part of, right? So yeah, if you can, I'd love to share that. Is it
Absolutely.
local
Let me
just
see if I
where,
can find it real quick.
where you're located?
It's at the Denny's in, I want to say it's Clearwater. It's Clearwater Denny's, or just south of that. I'll get the information to the chat in just a moment.
Oh, snap. Well, that ain't too far from me, so maybe I go to that one. Everything's like an hour away when you're in Florida.
You show up and I'll introduce you to some really great players in that market, okay?
That would be awesome. Yeah, we just did a deal not too far from there. And so here's the other thing I'm going to share with you guys too, that thank you, Ed, once again. I'm really happy that you can share that. Is where are you guys finding leads? And we're going to dip into that a little bit, but I will say for sure, when you're looking at the market currently, and you're seeing how many houses are entering the market, some pockets of the country are still red hot. A lot of the pockets are certainly cooling off. And I'm in Tampa, Jen and myself, Ed's pretty darn close. And even in this market, which was one of the hottest in the whole country, it's certainly cooled off as far as how many houses have hit the market. We're finding sub 2 deals all over the place here. And I will say, Jay was super, super nice when he said earlier, the calculator that we have in the Creative Finance Playbook, and how helpful that's been to be able to figure out the returns on your deal by making sure when you're making the deal that you're hitting everything to account for. because there's so many things that you don't think about when you're putting that deal together to buy into it. And that's part of the calculator that we designed, gives you that full amount of what's going to cost for you to buy the deal. Because sometimes, I'll be honest with you, you'll see some of our deals like, oh, we bought this deal with a grand down. Grand down to the seller, correct. But when you put in closing costs, 3 months worth of payments, your insurance policy, and all the other things, $1,000 down deal could be 10, 12 grand fairly easily. So this gives you that. And so there's no surprises. It also tells you the return on your money just by calculating a couple of things fast. So this is the key. But what I'm going to dial into, and then we're going to answer some questions. So if you have any, drop them down below. But leads. Right now, there are so many leads on Facebook Marketplace, and even on the MLS or on Zillow right now, guys, it's insane. So I'm going to dial into, and I've said this before, but maybe some of you are new. I'm going to dive into what our avatar seller looks like and what they've been looking like for a long time. But I've seen this more than not lately. Most of these folks have owned their house less than 5 years. A lot of them have just bought it in the last 2 years and they want to sell it. So when I'm looking on Zillow, and I'm working on one right now, and here in Florida, the seller just bought it for $805. They've got it listed for $850. Nice part of town, next to the mall, all the nice stuff, part of like Sarasota area. She bought it for $805. She's selling for $850. Now this is a free and clear house, so they don't even owe any money on this property. But I will tell you what I did notice, and this is my trick to find out why this would be a good sub-2 deal. She bought it. She tried to sell it 6 months later. She took it off. She tried to list it for rent. Had it down there for 2 weeks, took it off and put it back for sale. I was like, oh boy, I'm calling that realtor. Our realtor script, guys, is lightning in a bottle. I have not designed a script that's been easier to work with than that one. I get the information to where the realtor's like, yes, this will be a deal. They will do that deal. I've got one in St. Pete, same thing. I love the deal. But the buyer just bought it over the summer. It was $575. They have it listed right now for $579. If that realtor sells that house and has the potential to get a 6%, 5% commission, that seller is going to be in the red big time on that deal. Right? So the neat thing about that is when I talk to the realtor, I hit her with my whole realtor script. She says, yeah, they'll go ahead and do that deal. They want $5 grand down. The challenge why I'm not making it is because the PITI is 4,200 and it rents for like 3,500. The payment's high. It's in a flood zone in St. Pete, right north of downtown St. Pete. Nice house with a pool. And it's 4,200. Airbnb in the area rents for about 35. Maybe you'll get $4 grand a month out of it, but not enough to break even. So at this point, you have a couple options. Find somebody who just wants to take it over and live in it. Because if I own a house, I'm not worried about cash flow. I want to buy a house and I want to be able to afford the monthly payment. I want to own it, right? So that is a possibility, but these deals are all over the place. So what you really want to focus on if you do find one is make sure your cash flow is number one. Okay, so these are the big things I'm looking for in this market because I still see the market is going to turn down. Everybody says it's not going to. I still think it is. Well, not everybody. Half say it is, half say it won't. Depends who you talk to. I still think it's going to come down considerably more. And I think that in some major cities, it's going to happen. So if I'm taking these deals, what I'm taking are deals with long terms, lowest money down as possible, the cash flow. And those are the deals that we're keeping. Either that or I'm going to get into a deal fast, get in and out of it fast. So these are the things that we share in our mastermind group are some of the most recent strategies that we're doing. And current ones that we've done, because we haven't closed every single type of creative finance deal, but we've done almost every single kind, from a hotel, subtail, from wrap mortgages, lease purchases, and all the different ways that you can structure a deal to make that thing work. And that's really been the key, guys. And this is what I want to share today is just really is the power of meeting. So we're going to continue to go live every Tuesday. We're not going to be here next Tuesday. So I just want to forewarn all of you, I'll be sad to miss you, but we're going to be in Tampa at our mastermind group. So we'll have a couple of videos that we're going to share with you guys. Some of you I know are in our private module. And if you are in that private module, Jen recently just dropped a closing call on a deal that made us well over 6 figures with no money down. And you'll hear the whole call live. And if you've not listened to the call live, you don't have to be a student unless you want to be. I recommend you do, but if you don't, that's fine. But what I would recommend is you go to creativefinanceplaybook.com. If you enter your email address and name, you could listen to the whole video free of charge. But I will tell you what, guys, when everybody wants to know, how are we making these deals? Bless you, Lexi. How are we making these deals? What are you guys saying on the phone? This is part of the playbook. We have tons of our closing calls in there that you get to listen to. And it's not just me, it's some of our team too. So what we've done is we've learned the process of how to ask the questions, right? They have the sellers give us the offers on scripts that we've designed in-house to make it easy to answer, right? So creativefinanceplaybook.com, if you guys want to hear that closing call. And not only that, this is a turnkey, beautiful house. There's a few pictures in there. You guys will love the video of it. It's about, what, 6-7 minutes? It's not terribly long, but this is the game changer right here. Once you can learn how to talk confidently to people who want full price for their house, structure that deal that it wins for you and for them, you're thrilled. This deal's a monster, guys. A monster. I don't want to spoil it, but you'll find out what we got it under contract for if you listen to it. But we have our tenant buyer in there at 400 grand. And we got under contract for 290. And his monthly payment $1,700 a month, and we rent it for $3,000 a month. These people gave us 32 grand to move into it. So if you want to learn how you can structure these deals too, this is what we walk you through, and this is the process. So I wish I had Mike and Jay. I think you do want to spoil it. I don't, because the call, right? Because what you're going to realize during the call is I don't do anything super special. I just ask questions, and I be nice, right? Don't be mean. Be nice to people. Be helpful to people. Ask a handful of questions, and the seller's like, "Yeah, it's perfect. Right? I'm able to help solve their problem." And this is the key, because guys, when I was wholesaling and back in the day, Jen and I were looking at just the junker houses. We only had one strategy. And it really kept us limited to what we can do with these deals. And that was just the cash, right? Cash, buy them, refinance them, rent them, and move on. Once you learn this creative stuff and how this works, this is what's been really changing the game. So I'm going to keep it short-lived today because I know Lexi, my acquisition manager, has a ton of calls for me to go on because she's been knocking out deals today. This is where I'll share this real quick too. Can I? I can. Okay, so this is where our office is. So we got Luca here. I don't know. I think he's doing some David Olds training. He's on disposition. You got Lexi over here. She's our acquisitionist. So she's the one where 3 months ago, she didn't really know anything much about real estate other than, buying houses the conventional way. From listening to our scripts now and doing it, Jen was here last week and I overheard her on the conversation. I get to hear it daily. Just the small differences, not even small, huge differences in 3 months. The girl from not knowing what Zillow was in December now is like sounding like real estate money on the phone. And she has deals that she's writing up, putting under contract, doing the contracts herself. And she just brings me the leads that we've worked on, get me on a couple of closing calls. She's making our closing calls for us now after 3 months. So this is the whole power of what we're able to help. So it could be somebody in their young 20s with no experience, or you could be any point in your life and learn how to do that. Were you gonna say something, hon?
No, I don't know if it's my internet or yours, but
It could be mine. I mean, I'm at the office.
Yours.
It shows I have fast.
Jen, it's yours. You are. I've seen that.
See, there you go. All right. Also, too, if any of you guys are friends on Facebook, you can see how it works. I'm putting out there that we need some help with one of our properties, that we want some dispo folks. So this is part of your network too. I just put out there that we're looking to pay $1,000 to $2,000 for somebody to post some of our properties in Facebook Marketplace for us, handle the leads. And when the good leads come, you send them to our team, we do the rest. Just from having a network of people, guys, I've had 6 people already comment saying, hey, I'll do it. Plus I've got like 3 or 4 people in my messages who just message me inside and say, yeah, I'll do this. This is great. So having a network, friends requesting people. Jen will attest, I didn't have Instagram a couple of years ago. I got Facebook when she made it for me. So since then, I've grown a pretty big following, and it's really just been networking. So I can't even call it a following. It's just a huge network of other investors and friends that I know who are interested in a lot of the same things. And this is the key. So when her and I, our practices are, if I find other real estate investors, I send them a friends request because I want to be able to connect with them and see what they're doing. And hopefully they can see what I'm doing. And hopefully we could do deals together and find ways to do deals. So if you're listening to this now or later on, and you have a deal that you want a JV on, joint venture, work on it together, reach out, creativefinanceplaybook.com. There's a slot in there to submit your deal. It comes right to our acquisition manager, and we can take a look at that deal. What qualifies for a deal? Obviously, you probably talked to the seller at one point. They're either open for a cash deal or maybe they're open to seller financing or both. We'll help walk you through it. And just like I was talking with Mike earlier today, we're making this deal in Connecticut now because of it, and it's turning out great for both of us. So we're super excited to now have a new friend and make a bunch of money together. I got another gentleman who's helping us out with our our Colorado house too. Do I know anyone who's got a 10 unit around 1 mil in the Tampa, Clearwater, St. Pete? I just saw one. Nick, send me a message. I'll get you part of this Tampa group that I'm part of. And somebody just posted one in, I think it is St. Pete. I think it's an 8 or 10 unit. So send me a message and I could send you that group that I'm a part of that they just posted that deal in. Not a problem. Love to help. This is what we do, guys. This is what we do. So questions, concerns, comments. If not, I'm gonna cut it a little loose early today, guys. So yeah, we do have that. I will get you that Facebook link. Thank you, Ed Middlebrook. So the meeting, I'm gonna write this down. I have that. You'd be amazed at how many seller finance deals are out there on the market right now. Look it up on Zillow. So yeah, that's one thing that guys, it works really well. Go on Zillow, look at houses for sale, type in the keywords seller financing and owner financing separately. To the first search on the one, to the second search on the other. I also look for houses that are on the market with that included. And then I also look for houses that are for sale by owner under Zillow that have that included as well. Now, a lot of the ones on Zillow, once you read the comments, will say, especially the FSBO for sale by owner, like not doing seller financing. They probably had a bunch of calls. There's a lot on there that say they will. There's one trick that I've learned from this. If they say on their ad, they'll do seller financing with, 20% down, and that ad is a week old, they're going to probably be kind of tight on that number. If I see an ad where they say 20% down and that ad's 120 days old, that seller's gonna be probably a little more flexible on their down payment, right? So this is where I will look at every one of them and I scurry the internet every day looking for these deals and talking to realtors every single day. And I will tell you, and if you already got the playbook, great. And if you have got the playbook, you need to be running that realtor script and reaching out to realtors just through texting. Text them the questions in the same sequence. And once they say yes, you get them on the phone. And that's where you're going to negotiate the deal. I just did another one yesterday on a $850,000 home. I've got another $850,000 home here in Bradenton, Lakewood Ranch. It's turnkey. The realtor already said, yes, they'll do the deal. So I have a handful of these that they work very well on. And it's not just here in Florida, they work well everywhere. So if you want to talk more about that, what that looks like, you could send myself or Jen a message and we could set up a free consultation to talk about it. See what the playbook looks like, go over all the details of it. If you've got questions, we have a mastermind, we're starting 2. And Jen is also starting one-on-one accountability coaching, where she'll also meet with you every single week. And this is where a lot of our past students have had a tremendous success. I will say the newest students have a little bit of an edge over the old dogs because our old students didn't have the playbook too. They got our training every single week, but now you'll have the resource like the Creative Finance Playbook to go over, watch all the video modules, the scripts, checklists. So if you make a deal, I don't have to just sit there and ramble off all the things to do. You just pull out your checklist and go do it, right? So we made the process super easy, but the accountability is there too, because my wife used to be a teacher. And so she checks up on you to make sure you're keeping on task. And if you're not, she will remind you to make sure you're doing all the things you're supposed to do nicely at first. But her job is to keep you accountable and make sure we're answering your questions. So we have a few different ways that we can help you in your journey if you're looking to get into more of this. And you know what? If you've got $200, save your $200. Come to this live, watch our YouTube, watch a ton of that stuff for free. It's all out there. But if you're like, hey, listen, like I really like this and I need this and I really want to get into this more, and you want to get into, you know, the playbook and some accountability or mastermind, I'd love to talk to you guys and see if it's a good fit for you. So creativefinanceplaybook.com or reach out to Jen or myself and we can set up that free consultation and see if it's a good fit. Things I need to share. So next week, once again, we will not be here. We're going to be in Tampa. So we're going to share some cool videos with you guys. We'll have on the playbook some stuff to watch. So just in case you miss our smiling face, you won't be without. Some past interviews. Maybe we've done some students. I'll think of something. I know Jen's thinking of a couple of things will be awesome too. But then when we get back, you're not going to want to miss that one. So 2 weeks from today, is this is where we're going to dive into all of the things that we've learned, all of the people that we met. We're going to be great note takers. So you're going to get a wealth of information.
A special guest that day.
Oh, well, then you're going to get
actually going extra. To be. Yes, it's Amelia and Grace with the Women's Investing in Real Estate. Grace being a former student, and so we're going to be chatting with them.
Freaking sweet. We got a lot of good stuff then coming. So if you guys don't know Grace already and Amelia, Grace is a superstar. She went from having one unit to over 20 something within like a year and some change. She quit her job as an engineer. She said that I wanted to quit. She did not want to have to do anymore. And now she is multifamily, tons of single family, rent to own, a lot of creative finance deals. She's done some wholesaling, fix and flips. And she's now starting to make me super jelly. Where she's like, I'm gonna go live in Mexico for a month. And I'm going to go live in Europe for a month. And now she's just like doing her thing, which is super amazing. So she was talking about living in South America for like 3 months because she wants to go travel and still work from home remote because she still has people here doing some of the stuff for her. So part of your network, right? So we have a lot of cool stuff coming up for you guys, but that's all I really have today. So if you guys have any questions, I will say if it's not us, that's fine. But get into a network somewhere of people who are A, doing what you want to be doing, and B, who's actually doing the thing and not just talking about it. Because that's the thing out there. There's a lot of people out there who's talk the talk, but they're not walking the walk. And this is the challenges that you're going to run into, that you want to align with people who are doing what you're doing. And that's part of the network. You're not going to spend all that money being part of a mastermind. And this is why Jen and I like it. I don't know if any of you know Steve Train. He runs Real Estate Disruptors. He's part of the one. He's going to be there next week. Like, I've been a huge fan. The fact I get to rub elbows and talk with him next week, and a lot of these other guys. Eric Brewer is going to be there. Tiffany High, which we've already met her before too. She's fantastic. And Josh High. Like, these folks are going to be there. And these are why you spend time being around these kind of folks, is find out what they're doing. Tiffany and Josh are another power couple in Columbus, Ohio. We flew out there in September. And they do like 30, 40 deals a month. We get to see their operation, see what they're doing, right? So, and find out what parts of it that we want to do and how can we help each other. If I have a deal in Columbus, Ohio, there's only one person I'm usually calling on that deal, that's those two, because they know the area better than anybody else, just about. So very good to see y'all. We will see you in 2 weeks with Grace and Amelia, and we will be sharing some fun things that we've learned from the current mastermind. And obviously, we're always here to help. So if you have any deals, once again, you want to look at, or maybe you have a deal that you want to keep yourself, and you don't want a JV, and you just want to book a strategy coaching call and figure out how you can structure the deal. Maybe it's a house that you're going to live in, you're going to buy terms, because we've helped people with that. A bunch of our friends who bought houses on terms that they thought they were going to use it as an investment property that they moved into. They live in it their own too. So maybe it's not a house you want to split with us and you have your own deal that you want to keep, but you need help kicking it over the edge. Reach out, book a coaching strategy call, and we will help you lock up that deal. Get me on a call with the seller, you know, make the magic happen. So you guys have a great Tuesday. Great seeing you all again, and stay tuned for some amazing stuff next week. And then we'll be back live 2 weeks from today. Cool. Good seeing you all, and we'll see you then.